So just take a moment to allow your eyes to close and allow yourself to begin to relax. And as you begin to comfortably relax, I'm just going to tell this healing meditation in the background. And if you're listening to this and you don't require the therapeutic benefit of this, you can just listen along to this and it'll help you to drift and relax deeply into a meditative state, to enjoy a period of time of deep meditation. And while you enjoy this period of time of deep meditation, as I talk in the background, you can gain what it is that you would like to gain from this, whether it's improved peace of mind, whether you take the therapeutic metaphors used during this meditation to help yourself in other ways. Whatever it is that you require, you can find that in this meditation. You can begin to have a sense of lying down in a meadow, and you're relaxing in this meadow on a beautiful spring day. And as you relax in this meadow on a beautiful spring day, so you can notice the smells of the flowers. You can hear the slight breeze of the air. You can feel the air on your skin, perhaps noticing the air as it blows through your hair. You can hear the sounds of birds. You can see the way butterflies and bees are flying from plant to plant. And you can continue to relax and drift into the experience. And while you relax and drift into the experience, I don't know whether you'll continue relaxing deeper to each in-breath or each out-breath, or perhaps to the sound of my voice, or even to the spaces between my words. And as you rest there in that meadow, just gazing up at the sky, you can notice the colour of the sky. Perhaps notice the warmth of the sun on your cheeks. You can notice whether there are any clouds in the sky, and if there are, you can notice how those clouds are moving through the sky. You can notice what those clouds look like. And you can enjoy this moment of peace and deep relaxation. And as you rest here in this meadow, you can feel the grass tickling under the palms of your hands, noticing the coolness of that grass under the palms of your hands. Maybe hearing the distant rustling as the wind blows through trees, and perhaps the occasional other natural sound out here, all helping you drift deeper and more comfortably into the experience. And while you drift deeper into the experience, so you notice that the sun is passing across the sky, and as that sun begins to set, you stand up and you begin to walk, and you walk slowly and relaxed. And as you walk slowly and relaxed, you head through that meadow, looking around you at what you can see, hear the colours of the plants, the movement of the plants and the grass and the distant trees, and that slight breeze. And you continue to walk through this meadow so peacefully, so comfortably, as the sun sets and the sky takes on different shades of reds and oranges and seems to almost turn purple before turning a rich shade of blue, with the silver light of the moon illuminating the meadow, the glistening of the diamond-like stars in the sky twinkling down on the ground below as you continue walking slowly, relaxed through this meadow. And as you continue walking, so you notice something unusual. You notice that while you're walking, the moon seems to be travelling across the sky, and the morning seems to be approaching. And as the morning approaches, so you notice how the environment is changing. And you can be curious, maybe even a little uncertain at first about what's happening. But you relax and go with the flow and just enjoy the experience of discovering where things are moving. And you find that as the sun is rising, the sun feels warmer than it did the day before. You notice that the plants are richer and deeper in colour, more vibrant. There's even more sound of wildlife. The trees are the most beautiful shades of green. You notice that spring has transitioned into summer, and you continue walking through this meadow. And as you walk through this summer meadow, so you notice animals that are a few months old now with their parents feeding in the meadow. You can still see a lot of wildlife around, and something about this warm weather seems to bring peace, calmness, and comfort to the world around you. And you watch as you walk. You can feel that warmth of the summer sun on your face, on your body, as you continue to walk. And you head into some woodland, and as you walk into that woodland, so you have a sense of the temperature becoming slightly cooler here inside the trees, out of the overhead sun. And you walk through this woodland, hearing the slight rustling of the leaves overhead, feeling and hearing each footstep that you take, walking deeper and deeper into the woodland. And and you continue to walk deeper and deeper into the woodland. And as you begin to approach the far side of the woodland, you become aware that the sun seems to be setting again. And as the sun sets, so you can see the shards of sunlight shining through the trees overhead, dancing in the path in front of you. And then as that passes by, you notice the silver shards of moonlight as they dance in front of you, as the sounds change from daytime woodland wildlife sounds of birds and animals to the nighttime sounds here in the woods. And with this deep sense of peace walking through the woodland, you can notice the way that the shards of moonlight illuminate sparkling grains of dust floating in the air, and seem to almost move silently as the moon passes overhead as you continue to walk towards the exit of the woodland. And as you notice that you're beginning to near the exit of the woodland, so that moon sets, and as the moon sets, so the sun begins to rise, and as the sun begins to rise, you notice the temperature has cooled a little, and it's still comfortable. It's just cooler than it was the day before. And with this cooler temperature, you look around you and you can see as you look up that the colours of the leaves in the trees are taking on different shades of oranges, of reds, and fewer green leaves. And you exit the woodland, and as you walk across a new meadow, you can see how different this meadow is. You can see that this meadow is shorter grass and just the occasional spark of colour dotted across the meadow. And as you look back towards the woodland, you can see the colours of those leaves, those autumnal colours of that woodland behind you. And you can feel the slight breeze in the air as you continue walking through this meadow. And then, after a little while of walking through the meadow, seeing the sun rise, feeling the cooler breeze on your cheeks, seeing the sun travel across the sky, and seeing that sun begin to set. So you watch as the moon rises in the sky once more, and you watch as that moon begins to travel across the sky, the twinkling of those stars, and you can see some wispy clouds in the sky, occasionally obscuring the moon. And as some of those clouds obscure the moon and travel across in front of the moon, incredibly fine, wispy clouds, you notice what almost looks like a silvery rainbow of light suddenly appearing around that moon. You notice that the temperature here is beginning to drop, and you can see your breath as you breathe out, illuminated by the moonlight. And you put a jacket on to warm yourself up. And you continue to go with the experience. Continuing to go with the changing of the seasons. As you watch that moon pass across the sky, and the moon begin to set, you notice that as the sun rises for another day, it rises behind a bank of cloud, and sometimes the cloud is travelling slow enough that the sun peaks over the top of the cloud. Other times that cloud seems to have moved just enough to recover the sun, as that cloud slowly and gently rolls in overhead. And as that cloud passes overhead, so the air seems to become incredibly still. And there is a certain quality, almost indescribable, to the air, to the environment around you, a certain stillness and silence, as you then notice a large snowflake drift gracefully and slowly past you, drifting and floating so gracefully, so relaxed, weaving slightly left and right, as it lowers down to the ground. And as you then look back up again, you can see it's followed by tens of thousands more slow moving large snowflakes, and you continue to walk through this meadow, feeling that tickle touch of the snowflakes landing on your nose, on your ears, occasionally landing on the back of your neck. And you pop a hood up as that snow falls thicker and thicker, so that you can barely see in front of you. And you just have this silent white curtain of snow surrounding you in all directions. And the landscape begins to change colour as the ground turns white and the footsteps begin to change how they sound. Initially they sound the same, and then they sound almost a little bit slushy, and then as that snow deepens, they start to sound crunchy. And all this snow changes the quality of the sounds. They seem to mute any echo from footsteps, from the occasional bird singing, and other sounds around you. And as you continue to walk, you're aware that the sun is continuing to pass across the sky, even though it's doing so above dense clouds. And you can see through the snow what looks like a pine forest. And so you continue to walk towards that pine forest, crunching through the snow, feeling the coolness of the air, that tickle touch as the snowflakes touch your cheeks, your nose. You occasionally hold a hand out, and the snow gathers up on the hand before you wipe it onto the floor. Maybe you reach down and gather up some snow and make a snowball, and feel that crunching and crushing of the snow between your fingertips and your palm of your hands. Maybe you gather up a little more snow and make yourself a small little snow person. Make a little smiley face with your finger. And as you head into the pine forest, so you notice that most of the ground is brown and clear of snow, and just occasionally some of that snow will build up enough on some branches that it will collapse down through the forest, make a small pile of snow on the forest floor with the gentlest airy thud. And there's a stillness in this forest, and you walk through the forest aware that outside the forest the sun is setting as this forest darkens as nighttime comes on. And you continue through this forest, and you see in the distance what looks like a slight clearing and a cabin in that clearing. So you head through the forest towards that clearing. And as you head out into that clearing, you notice that the snow has stopped falling. The clouds have cleared overhead. You can see the sparkling, twinkling, diamond-like stars stretched like the most incredible blanket across the night sky. You can see a slight hint of an aurora in the sky. You can see with each step you take that as you walk, crunching through the snow, the surface of the snow seems to twinkle and sparkle like a billion diamonds surrounding you in the moonlight. And there's a silence to the environment that if you stand still, there's just silence. Until you then move a foot and slowly step on the snow crunching underfoot, as you continue walking to that cabin. You head into the cabin. You notice through the window that there's a flickering light inside this cabin. You open that cabin door, and as you do, you hear a meow. You close the door behind you, and the most incredible, snuggly cat jumps up into your arms, and snow is dropping off of you, is beginning to melt in the warmth of this cabin. You see that the cat's name is Muffin. You head over near to the chairs near the crackling log fire. You direct the cat to climb out of your arms onto one of the chairs as you then take your jacket off and take your shoes off. And you grab a warm and comfortable drink before heading to that chair, and the cat jumps down onto the floor. You sit down in the chair. Muffin climbs up onto your lap. You finish drinking your drink, and after drinking your drink, you're just gazing at the flickering flames of the fire, hearing the crackling and popping, gently stroking Muffin, feeling the warmth of Muffin's body, the weight of Muffin on your lap, hearing purring and feeling the purring through your hand as you stroke Muffin, and feeling Muffin's breathing as they relax deeper and deeper with the gentle stroking. As you too begin to find yourself relaxing deeper and deeper, and almost having this sense of beginning to drift into a reverie while gazing at the crackling, popping, dancing fire. You find your eyelids becoming heavier and heavier, blinks becoming longer and longer. You find that your hand occasionally stops stroking, as for just a moment you drift inside your mind. Then you pay attention back to that fire, back to stroking Muffin. But after a few moments, you find yourself drifting deeper and deeper inside your mind again, drifting, floating deeper into your mind. Those eyelids getting heavier and heavier, until no matter how hard you fight it, they just begin to close all by themselves, and you just let that happen as you relax inside your mind and begin to drift and float into the most peaceful, profound reverie. And at first, all you see with your eyes closed is darkness, almost as if you're a mind without a body, or a consciousness just floating in space, in darkness. And then gradually, you start hearing the sound of a train on tracks, feeling the gentle rocking as if you were sleeping on a train, and then having a sense of opening your eyes and discovering yourself on an old-fashioned train as you look out the window and you see that you're on an old-fashioned train travelling along a coastline of a country. You can see the most beautiful beach, the most incredible view. And that train continues chugging along until after a while you notice the train's beginning to slow down, and it pulls in at a station, and you just have this feeling that this is where you get off. And so you leave your seat, you walk through the train, exit the train onto the platform, close the door behind you, hear that train beginning to start up, about to move, before it then leaves the station, and you watch as that train chugs away from the station. Watch those carriages passing you by and then going off into the distance. Before you walk off the platform, you head down a path. You follow this path to a sandy path. You follow the sandy path down to the most incredible sandy beach. And you walk out onto this sandy beach, smelling the salty air, hearing the way that gentle waves lap onto the shore, feeling each footstep through the sand, finding the perfect location, and settling down in that location, relaxing back and looking out across the sea, watching, holding your gaze on one wave and watching its journey as it rolls in, gets closer to the shore, curls over and breaks from one point, heading outwards in both directions down that wave as it breaks onto the shore, bubbles and rolls gently up the shore before slowing down, then pulling out to the sea again, dragging out some of that sand. And you watch this a few times, watching the way that waves roll into the shore and then pull back out to sea, before you lie back and close your eyes and begin to drift and float inside your mind. And as you drift inside your mind, So you have a sense of walking through a meadow carefully, slowly, with a sense of purpose, heading to an unusual looking grand oak tree in the middle of this meadow, reaching that grand oak tree, sliding your fingertips around the bark of the oak tree, firmly resting your hand against that bark, feeling the bark under the palm of your hands, hearing the rustling leaves overhead. As you then push with your hand, and a chunk of bark seems to pop away from the tree, and you pull on that bark and realize it's a door. You open that door and you can see a spiral staircase leading down deep under this tree. And so you walk into the tree, you close the door behind you, and as you do, the most beautiful glow illuminates this staircase. You begin to walk down the staircase, down 20 steps. From 20, stepping on step 19, then 18, finding yourself becoming deeper and deeper absorbed with each step that you take. Stepping on step 17 and 16 and 15, feeling each step beneath your feet as you go. Feeling the handrail under the palm of your hand. 14, 13, becoming deeper and deeper absorbed as you continue to descend under this grand oak tree. 12, 11, 10, finding yourself becoming so absorbed, finding the muscles of your face soften and relax, your senses relaxing, your body feeling heavier and heavier. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stepping off the bottom step onto a soft, spongy floor, curious as you walk away from the steps towards a red door. And you look at that red door, notice what it looks like, the texture on the door, the handle as you open that door, walk through the door, close the door behind you, and find that you're in a room with a door opposite you. And in this room there's an unusual blue glow that seems to penetrate through you, sending deep healing and relaxation, seeming to relax you from the head down through your body to the tips of your toes, seeming to prepare you for walking through the next door. And so you arrive at the next door, and above the door it says Room of Nothingness. You read what it says. Beneath the sign it says, in this room there is no up, no down, no left, no right, no backward or forward. There is no past, no future, just now. And you open the door. You walk through the door, and as you close the door, suddenly it feels like the ground has vanished beneath your feet. You seem to be like a mind floating in space, in darkness. There seems to be no up nor down, no left nor right, no backward nor forward, no past or future, just now. And you have this sense like you're trying to move your arms around, your legs around, to see what's around you. But it doesn't even feel like your arms or legs are moving, because there's no sensation for them to experience here in a room of nothingness, just peace, tranquility, a sense of profound oneness, like a connection with the universal now. And you try to have this sense of walking forward or backward, but with no sensory input. You just feel like you're only here. And then you have this feeling of closing your eyes, and with your eyes open, you see nothing, and with your eyes closed, you see nothing. And so you can't be sure that you've closed your eyes. You just have this sense that that was your intention. And as you do, so you find yourself drifting in your mind deeper and deeper. You begin to hear the faint sound of a Tibetan bell being rung, and you follow that sound as it fades away, and then you hear it being rung again. You have this sense of travelling to that bell, and then opening your eyes and finding yourself in a meditative position, sitting high up in a monastery, in mountains, with some other monks sat around you who are also meditating. And the monk in front of you, who's guiding you all, says, "That's right," and then just take a moment to close your eyes again. And with your eyes closed, just focus on the top of your head. And the monk rings the bell and says, and follow that sound as it passes down from the top of your head to your ears, your forehead, around the back of your head, passing around and through your head, down to your cheeks, your ears, your jaw, around your nose, your lips, softening, relaxing, deeper and deeper. They then ring the bell again and say, and just have a sense of that continuing to flow down around the jaw, into the neck, the back of the neck, the front of the neck, around the throat, down the side of the neck, softening, relaxing the muscles, just letting those muscles relax deeper and deeper, and passing down through from the neck to the tops of the shoulders and out to the tops of the arms and around the back of the shoulder blades and the lower neck. And then they ring a bell again and say, just have a sense of that spreading down those arms. And I don't know whether the relaxation will spread faster down the left arm or the right arm, as that relaxation spreads all the way down to the fingertips. And I don't know whether those arms will feel like they're getting heavier and heavier as you relax deeper and deeper, or whether those arms will begin to feel almost like a sense of nothingness, of just deep relaxation, as that spreads all the way down to the fingertips. And they ring the bell again, and they say, and just have a sense of that relaxation spreading down through the chest, the sides, your upper back, relaxing, softening all the way through the inside of your body, spreading down to your lower torso, your stomach, your lower sides, your lower back, all the way through, softening, healing, relaxing around your stomach, your intestines, all your internal organs, and through your entire mind and body. And then dings that bell again and says, and allow that deep healing relaxation to spread down to your bottom, down into those legs, all the way down to the tips of your toes. And then dings that bell again and says, and now just imagine a sense of that healing light with that dinging bell passing through from the top of your head, almost connecting you with the universal consciousness around you, making you one with the world. As that spreads down through you and then out of your feet, connecting you with the heavens above and the earth below, with you there in the middle. And you go with the experience deeper and deeper, feeling those muscles soften, relax, as everything around seems to fade, as if you are here alone with just their voice and you. And then they say, and while you remain in this state of mind and being, slowly and gently open your eyes. And you do this. And they say, slowly and gently stand up and walk forward. And you do this, and you walk to the wall of the monastery. You look out over the wall and you see the most incredible mountain range, clouds off below you, a glistening river off in the distance illuminated by the setting sun, a distant forest. And they say, now walk to the Zen garden and walk with purpose. And so you walk with purpose to that Zen garden. They tell you to walk around the spiral in the Zen garden, and so you begin to follow that raked spiral in the Zen garden, and they tell you to rake the spiral accurately behind you as you walk. And so you carefully walk around that spiral as you rake behind you, filling in the imperfections you leave while you follow that spiral to the rock in the center. They tell you to climb onto the rock, and so you climb up onto that rock. They tell you to sit down, close your eyes, and drift inside your mind. And so you do this, and as you do, you know they're still guiding you, but your focus is on the inner experience rather than the outer experience. And so you find yourself floating above an unusual landscape where you can see multiple paths stretched out beneath you, and you recognize yourself in a single path that branches off into multiple paths. And you see those paths branch off into multiple more paths. And you see that each path is a decision. Each path is taking different options. And you watch and you notice as that you is taking all these decisions at once. And that for any given path in the future, the memories for that you in that path stem all the way back through a whole series of events that were unique to that specific you. Every other you in every other path didn't take exactly that selection of decisions. And you see that at certain points that you is anxious about which path to take. But from this vantage point you can see how each path played out, and that even the yous that took decisions that maybe you watching, you would think that's not the decision you would take. They find a way of making it work for them, of accepting where they've ended up, and that they couldn't change the decision that had occurred, And sometimes decisions, as you can see, weren't things that the you had any say in. Some paths led to changes that the you in that situation had no control over, and one version of you didn't have the change occur and carried on, but another version of you had a change occur and they had a period of adapting, of having to accept that a change had happened that they had no control over. And given time, they would learn and adapt and find a way of being in this reality. They would find what they do have control over, the little changes that they can make. And you watch as some versions of you become better and better at handling uncertainty, at handling change, and being able to be comfortable with accepting what isn't in their control, while focusing on what is, knowing they can't change what isn't, they can only change what they can do. And you can watch with intrigue as different paths, different future versions of yourself play out different lives. Some that you think that I'd love to have that life. Others that you think, I'm glad that I don't have that life. And you find yourself learning, almost unconsciously, how to instinctively begin to make yourself follow those paths where you cope best with those things that change, that you have no control over, in your desired way. And you know what your desired way is, you know what the future is you would like to have, and what the steps are towards that future. And each time you listen to this, you get more skilled at knowing that information and at knowing what's on this to follow in this experience, to continue learning, developing, improving, becoming the person you want to be in how you handle different situations. And you drop down into the ideal timeline and begin to just experience that timeline play out, where change occurs, and you respond to it as you would like to respond, and find yourself following a path into the future that's your ideal choice of path. And you may not necessarily always consciously know that that's what you're doing. It may just be something you do instinctively. That's it. Because you can find your own path to happiness, to well-being, to improved pleasure and health, and get from this what it is that you need now. And after the experience, you'll find yourself drifting back to being in that cabin, stroking that cat, listening to the crackling fire. And when you're ready at that point, you'll be able to have a sense of going and heading to bed, drifting comfortably asleep, perhaps drifting into the most beautiful lucid dream, or maybe just drifting into the most incredible, deep, healing, recuperative sleep, or perhaps just having a sense of standing up from the chair, leaving the cabin, and as you leave the cabin, finding yourself drifting back to the here and now and awakening. And this cabin can have special properties that when you're at the cabin, you can just close your eyes and have a sense of entering the cabin, of sitting on the chair, stroking Muffin as you gaze into the fire and drifting off into the most special reverie for healing and well-being, knowing you can head to bed to fall asleep profoundly and deeply for the perfect night's sleep, awakening refreshed and revitalized. Or you can leave the cabin and drift back to wakeful awareness. And with practice and regular use, you can find yourself getting better and better at doing this for yourself without needing to be guided on the experience. And for now, you can enjoy the experience in any way that is right for you to get everything you need from this experience. So deeply, so comfortably, so relaxed. And I'll just be silent in the background while you do that as you drift deeper and deeper with each out breath.